I'm Rowan Cade, and I'm driving the spine of Appalachia with a cassette recorder on the passenger seat. Not because I expect it to catch proof, because it catches patterns. Out here, stories don't end, they migrate. From the highway, these mountains look soft. Up close, they feel older than language, ridge after ridge like a backbone that never learned to lie down. Locals told me the first rule: some places don't belong to you, even if you can name them. They say there are ridges where the darkness behaves like a boundary line. Quiet, patient, and hard to cross. In a roadside diner, I asked what folks had seen. Nobody rushed to say monster. They talked about roads that change mood, about lights that don't keep their distance, about a silence that makes you check your mirrors. Long before my map had state lines, Cherokee storytellers had names for what moves through these forests. Not cryptids, not paranormal. Just beings, warnings, and lessons, ways to describe what happens when the land decides you've wandered. One name came up like a stone in the mouth: Spearfinger. A figure with skin like rock and a finger like a blade. Whether it was a creature or a metaphor didn't matter. The message did some dangers wear familiar shapes. That night, I camped near a creek where fog pooled, low and heavy, like it had weight. My flashlight stayed pointed at roots and stones. In these woods, looking too far ahead feels like an invitation. The old stories talk about the Nunahi, the immortals, said to live inside the ridges, not as a spectacle, as a presence, as if the mountain has rooms you can't rent, no matter how politely you ask. And then there's the signal. People describe it differently, but it's always the same idea. A tiny, distant glow on a ridgeline that shouldn't be there. Not close enough to chase, just close enough to make you wonder who's watching. I pulled off at an overlook and waited for dark like I was waiting for a train. The air dropped cold, and the ridges stacked into silhouettes, black on darker black, fading into blue-gray distance. The brown mountain lights have been reported for generations. Floating glows that appear, move, fade, and return. Explanations come and go. Cars, atmosphere, mirage. But the lights keep their own schedule. When the first light blinked on, it felt less like seeing something new, and more like recognizing a thought you didn't know you were thinking. One light became two, then none. Then one again, patient, unhurried, impossible to pin down. In Tennessee, the road narrowed and the trees leaned in. I kept catching myself lowering my voice, even when I was alone. There are places where your body acts respectful before your mind understands why. The Bell Witch story hangs over Adams like a weather system, an unseen presence, a voice in the dark, a family slowly pulled apart by fear and accusation. Legend says it peaked around 1820, and people still talk like it happened last week. Whether you believe in spirits or not, the details hit the same. Nighttime noises that choose their moments, a something that answers back, and a house that teaches everyone inside it a new definition of the word alone. I didn't go looking for a demon. I went looking for the shape of belief, how a community decides something is real, and then lives with it. In Appalachia, the supernatural often feels less like magic and more like pressure. West Virginia has a way of making history feel close. Old boards, old glass, old hills. Every town looks like it's keeping a secret, because it's tired of explaining itself. In 1897, a young woman died in Greenbrier County, and the story should have ended as another sad headline. But it didn't. Her mother wouldn't accept the quiet, and the case became one of the most famous ghost stories tied to a courtroom. People repeat the same chilling idea, that love can be so stubborn it keeps talking when it shouldn't. Skeptics call it grief. Believers call it justice. Either way, the mountain kept a hand on the page until the truth couldn't stay buried. I started collecting clippings, photocopied articles, tourist brochures, stories told at gas pumps like they were weather updates. The more I gathered, the more it felt like Appalachia was building a second map over the first. In 1909, newspapers in Maryland helped spread the legend of the Snallygaster, a flying chimera with a cruel appetite and a name that sounds like it was made to be shouted. It's folklore with ink still on it. Maybe it started as sensationalism. Maybe it started as a real sighting twisted into a headline. But that's the point. Once a story has a name, it has a body. And once it has a body, it can travel. That night, I watched the treetops move in the wind and caught myself scanning the sky like the paper could be right. Not because I expected wings, because I could feel my brain rehearsing the fear, trying it on for size. Deeper south, the coal towns feel like they were built quickly and left to age too fast. Rusted rails, black water, hillsides carved and patched. The land here doesn't just hold myths. It holds receipts. People talk about things under the mountain, the way other places talk about basements. Practical, not dramatic. As if below the roots, there's a second world that doesn't care if you believe in it. Some Cherokee stories speak of beings with stone-like skins. Invulnerable, relentless, more force than animal. When you stand near a cut in the mountain, staring at exposed rock, you understand why stone is an easy language for power. I kept noticing the same small glow in different places, never close, never steady, like a lighthouse for roads that don't exist. It was probably nothing. But in Appalachia, probably doesn't always feel comforting. In Flatwoods, West Virginia, the date comes up like a mantra, September 12, 1952, a bright object in the sky. A group walking up a hill with a flashlight. A figure described in ways that never fully agree, except on one point. Everyone felt wrong. Some say it was an alien. Others say it was a meteor and a terrified owl in the branches, turned monstrous by fog and adrenaline. The argument itself became part of the legend, proof that the mind can build a creature faster than the eyes can deny it. I stood at the base of that hill and tried to picture it. The beam of light cutting fog, the sudden outline, the human urge to give it a face. In the end, what haunted me wasn't the monster. It was the moment of certainty. Point Pleasant feels like a place where river air and old steel never quite let you relax. Even on a calm day, it's easy to imagine warnings moving through town like weather. The Mothman reports in 1966 and 1967 turned a stretch of West Virginia into a modern myth engine. Red eyes, a winged figure, sightings that multiplied as the story spread. And then the legend welded itself to tragedy. On December 15, 1967, the Silver Bridge collapsed. Metal failed. People fell into cold water. The myth became a way to speak about it, because sometimes a prophecy feels easier to hold than an engineering report. Standing near the river, I couldn't stop thinking about that. How a community stitches meaning over a wound. The bridge is gone, but the feeling remains, like the air still remembers the vibration. I drove with both hands tight on the wheel and caught myself watching reflections. A red LED blinked on my recorder like an eye that never sleeps. My notes started to sound less like research and more like confession. In parts of Virginia, people still use the old word, booger, for whatever you don't want to meet in the woods. It can mean a Bigfoot-like thing. It can mean a ghost. It can mean a place where your courage goes to die. Towns have turned some legends into mascots, statues, festivals, souvenirs. It's funny until it isn't, because a joke is still a way of pointing at fear without looking it in the face. North again, the stories shift to roads and dogs and sudden terror. The snarly yow is told like a warning for travelers, an impossible hound that appears where headlights reach, then vanishes like it never had weight. I saw something on the white line once, just a shape. I hit the brakes hard enough to feel it in my teeth. It was trash, rolling in wind. But my body reacted before my mind could laugh, and that's how folklore stays alive. In Kentucky, there's a railroad trestle tied to the Pope Lick monster, part human, part goat, part rumor. The details change, but the danger doesn't. People go out there to test the legend, and the train doesn't care what story you came for. I won't romanticize that. Some places are haunted by physics, not spirits. And the creepiest part is how quickly a thrilling myth can turn into a real funeral. In the last few years, the internet gave Appalachia a new kind of creature, the not deer. It looks almost normal, until it doesn't. A deer that stands wrong, moves wrong.